In the Company of Women Awards honors women leaders who are impacting our community with innovative, creative, and groundbreaking discoveries. Representing all walks of life, coming from diverse backgrounds and professions, tonight's 15 amazing women share the spotlight and are being recognized for their contributions to women's progress, for their influence on social, educational, and cultural spheres, and for serving as positive role models. These women are paving a path for a better world. They are heroes. They are amazing women. Our winners bring arts to the masses.
In my English classes, I had this teacher who was passionate about Shakespeare, and if we got an A in her class, she would pay for our tickets to go see the Stratford Festival, and her only rule was that when we grew up, we had to pay it forward. And many, many years later, I thought about her, and I've always been very passionate in my life about Shakespeare. And she was the inspiration for my founding the Shakespeare Company. And so we started in Peacock Park in 2005, and this is now our 14th year of producing free Shakespeare in the park. And we've grown from, a tiny group that drew thousands of people to Peacock Park in one location in the city of Miami in Coconut Grove, to we now are in 3 counties, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade County.
They work to advance women's issues.
The Equal Pay Miami-Dade campaign came out of some work that the Women's Fund did on our own strategy. So we looked at all of the work that we had done over more than 20 years. And we had given away about $4 million. We had helped about 500 organizations. We had helped 60 or 70,000 women in our community. But when you looked at the economic statistics, women were still behind. There was a huge pay gap. So 25% of women in our community live in poverty, and women make 78 to 80 cents on the dollar. And that wasn't right. And not only wasn't it right, but we realized that if we could fix that or improve that, that would allow women to leave abusive relationships. That would allow women to get an education. That would allow women to take care of their health. Because when you can't put food on the table for your kids, you're not going to go to the doctor. When you can't put food on the table for your kids, you're not going to leave an abusive partner. You're not going to become a leader. So we felt that the core issue, the fundamental issue that would help us change the lives of women and girls in our county, which is our mission, was economic security. And that's why we started Equal Pay Miami-Dade.
What we do is try to get people involved in government. We believe that it's our responsibility to hold our elected officials to account. So what we do is, first, you have to be an educated voter. So we try to inform the voters about the issues that are important to them in our community. We register them to vote. We ensure that they get out and vote, because if we're going to make a difference and we're going to change things in the way that we want, we have to know who's running for office, what do they stand for, what is their position on the issues, does it reflect what we want as a voter, so we know how we can make an informed decision when we cast our vote. And the League is nonpartisan, so the information that we give you is fact-based information on the issue, irregardless of the party of the candidate. So it's very trustworthy.
They are successful newswomen.
Serving as a meteorologist here in South Florida in my hometown has been such a blessing, because I get to do what I love and work here where I was born and raised, where I grew up. And I feel like weather plays such an important role in all of our lives every single day. And as a morning meteorologist, I help people get up, get going, and take on a new day. And I help prepare them for whatever it is, rain, shine, and obviously during hurricane season, I have the more serious challenge of providing them with the information that they need to be prepared and to stay safe during any kind of severe, dangerous storms or if a hurricane threatens.
They work to make life easier for people with disabilities.
Soon after injury, when I was still in high school, my principal asked me if I would talk to the seniors about reckless driving and thinking about the decisions that you make in life. And so that's really where my path of advocacy began, because what I realized was that by sharing my story, I could help others perhaps think about their own decisions in life, prevent an injury or something from happening, or just help set them on a pathway to doing good in their life. And so from one inquiry to speak came a second and a third, and that really just opened my world to public speaking and getting out there and sharing my story. I had been speaking a lot, traveling all over South Florida to talk to children about my life and sharing that. And I had met somebody who was my mentor, who started his own nonprofit working on regenerative medicine and the field of stem cell research at the time. And it just sort of like reignited this light inside of me to do more and to get out there to advocate for research for all types of disabilities and challenges. And that really inspired me on a personal level, that not only could it help myself possibly one day, but then help, thousands of other people on this pathway. So after working with him for about 3-4 years, I started the Sabrina Cohen Foundation to spearhead my own effort.
I think it's a dual pride that I have, my career, my day job, and Bold Beauty Project, because I realize that I've impacted many by what I do in my day job, because I get to work with young adults with disabilities, I work with professionals, and I work with graduate students. And in the beginning I was just doing it, but I use my voice and share my story with future doctors, with psychologists, social workers, audiologists, so I kind of am using my voice as a person with a disability to educate and train future healthcare professionals so they will treat people with disabilities better, because there's still many stereotypes and assumptions and health disparities and very poor treatment from the healthcare professions toward people with disabilities, all types of disabilities, physical, sensory. So I'm in a really unique spot in my career. I'm the only staff at the Mailman Center, no, there's a few, but that have a visible disability. There's quite a few that have invisible disabilities, but it's pretty powerful to be in this position, because I'm the lived experience. So I get to share my point of view, I get to advocate, I get to speak up for the rights of people with disabilities in the healthcare world, in the healthcare sphere. So I'm proud of what I'm doing in my day job, and then Bold Beauty Project. It's really an accomplishment. I'm leaving a legacy and having this continue on, and have it be sustainable is my other goal with Bold Beauty as well, which we're doing.
They are leaders in government.
As a councilwoman, one of my biggest accomplishments was the paid parental leave. We were the first municipality in all of Miami-Dade County, after the county had already passed the 4 weeks paid parental leave. I was very surprised to learn that the United States is one of the few countries that doesn't offer this benefit to women or couples that are expecting or adopting a child. So being that I was in a situation where I had to go back to work 2 weeks after giving birth, it was very hard for me. And so when I had the opportunity, former Commissioner Juan Zapata was the sponsor of that at the county. I decided, you know what, this is something I want to do. And so other cities like Miami Beach and I believe Palmetto Bay and others have followed suit and have accomplished this paid parental leave. So this is something I've always been a champion of, is quality of life issues, and obviously helping women be able to achieve their dreams and be able to kind of have like a work-life balance, which I think is the key to being a successful person. So I think as a leader, you need to lead by example and show people that giving is the way that helps a society just be better.
When I was about 9-10 years old, I was robbed along with my sister, and it kind of traumatized me at that time. And at that time I decided I wanted to actually go into law and be an attorney. So I figured that this would be the right avenue to travel in order to become an attorney. And I decided to go to the academy, and here I am. The field of police work has allowed me to touch a lot of lives. Each and every day I get to be a part of working with little kids. I've always had very high aspirations I never thought that I would be a chief of an organization, and just to be appointed, to be acknowledged, to be given this opportunity, I don't take it for granted. I'm very humbled, I'm very honored to be a leader of such a great organization. It allows me the opportunity to go ahead and show my own, I have 3 daughters, show my daughters, what it means to be a leader. It allows me to go ahead and ensure that I'm doing the right thing and that they're doing the right thing, and it allows me to inspire others.
And are making breakthroughs in science.
So I started as an undergraduate in electronics and telecommunications engineering. I always had a curiosity about what we can do for healthcare and about people. And during my undergraduate, I had an opportunity to do a project that had to do with developing technology for blood pressure measurements. And it got me thinking more about combining medicine and engineering, and that's how I ended up in doing biomedical engineering. In my own personal life, it has been a huge satisfaction, gratification that I've been able to work with a whole team to find solutions that can provide recovery of function to people who have lost it. I'm proud of, actually I will say I'm proud of the students that I have worked with and opening up dreams for them. And on the science and technology side, of course, there are projects that we have been working on, and for the past almost over a decade, we've developed neurotechnology to restore sensation to somebody who has lost it, in this case, people with an amputation. And that so far is perhaps the most important project and most important work that we have been able to accomplish.
So I'm a neurologist by training, and early on I decided I'm gonna, besides clinical work, I'm gonna focus to research, and because with research I can influence more people and maybe find some solutions and some cures for diseases such as stroke and Alzheimer's disease. So for me, it was very important that I have resources and people who can help me establish my research. And my research is broad in spectrum and looks at environmental and genetic factors that can influence neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's disease, cognitive decline, as well as cardiovascular diseases. So environment is a very important part of my research, and I believe that environment is critical in our health as well as other diseases.
They educate our youth.
I think the most important achievements to me are when my students come and say to me, Dr. Strickland, I did not understand what I could do or accomplish until you were my professor. And I also had patients who would say to me when I was working at the bedside, you know, Ms. Strickland, I didn't understand how to take care of myself. I didn't understand what was going on with my illness until I worked with you. And so those are the things that give me the most joy and passion and the most feeling of success in my career, the impact that I have on individual lives. I also recognize that nursing not only offer the opportunity to work with patients and keep them well and heal them, but to also become a scientist, to become a leader, to get into health policy, and possibly to even go into healthcare legislation. And so in my programs where I teach Florida International University in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, all of the disciplines study health policy, all of the disciplines study science and research and how they can expand healthcare knowledge and to improve their care of people. And that's what's most important, making that significant healthcare impact in the lives of each and every one of our patients and their family members.
So I was inspired to create Caribou because of the inequality in education. For me, it's extremely important that all children have an opportunity and access to reading for at least 20 minutes a day. And I've been part of incredible organizations that have been focused on early childhood literacy, but EdTech is really the only way that I've seen for us to move more quickly and to personalize learning and to meet students where they are so that we can remediate or accelerate where they are in their reading progress and make sure that they are ready for college and career when they graduate from high school. So I was a public school teacher at Miami Northwestern in Liberty City, and my 12th grade students, most of them could read at a basic 5th grade reading level, which to me is extremely unacceptable. And when I started to do my research to figure out how to solve this problem, I realized we can't wait until kids are in high school to try and solve this. We can't even wait till they're in middle school or even in kindergarten. Most children are building that literacy foundation between ages 0 and 7. And what Caribou does is we're an education platform that allows for any parent, extended family, or mentor to read and draw with children when they're not in the same location. So every child has the opportunity to get that 20 minutes of reading in every day, so that they're building their vocabulary, they're building their phonemic awareness, and they're creating that opportunity to have a really strong literacy foundation.
They are athletes.
Honestly, I just didn't see an outlet for myself. I didn't see myself winning races or leading groups. I didn't see an equal. So I created my own option for everyone else. So there's actually a men's group. So our Doña Pan Club is a tongue-in-cheek version of that. Don Pan is where the ride would actually meet up. And it was where all the big guys would go and race and train. So I wanted an option for the women that were too scared to go to that. So we made our own. So the importance of fitness for me personally, first would be, that's kind of where I found myself. Going to school, graduating with environmental studies was fun, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I found being able to engage with other people and kind of bring them out of their own shell was more successful for me.
They are philanthropists.
We got involved with Zoo Miami because what a great place to have a family and to take your family. And so we started getting more and more involved, and then they asked me to be on the board, and I graciously accepted. And ever since then, it's been a great journey. We've diversified into education. We do a lot of healthcare. So I'm fortunate that my father-in-law left a great legacy. He founded the Jose Milton Foundation, and he wanted me to be in charge of it. I preside over the foundation, and together, and as a family, and we include all the grandchildren, we kind of look and see where the opportunities lie to improve Miami and really make Miami the best place in this world, like the way I see it. So once I became chair and past chair, I knew I needed to leave a legacy, a mark at Zoo Miami that reflected our values and our appreciation and love for this community and for parks in general and green spaces, right? So we went back and forth, and finally the idea of the Animal Fun Factory came about. It's the only one of its kind in all accredited zoos in the country. It's a place where guests can come in and create different enrichment items for the animals, and then the animals are given these things that enrich them because it uses all their senses.
And they work to make Miami-Dade County a more livable and sustainable community through parks.
I think the sort of flexibility of my career has surprised even me. In terms of specific things, I'm very proud of the Community Council program. It was really one of the first times that people in the unincorporated area could elect representatives to make zoning decisions and make recommendations to the county. Among the recommendations that I realized were so important was funding and programming in parks. So when I was invited to apply for the parks position, I was thrilled. And in that position, there are specific parks that are dear to my heart, and the Open Space Master Plan I'm very proud of. We decided not to be too technical, that it wasn't just about acres or number of ball fields, but that we wanted to do a vision that could take Miami-Dade County into the future with amazingly wonderful public spaces. The Urban Environment League, which I was a member of and then became president of after I retired, is, as is the Parks Department, committed to, good open space, good planning, protecting the county from overdevelopment, and protecting the environment. I have long been an environmentalist.
In the Company of Women not only supports women, it also supports parks, and parks are important to each of our winners. It's where they spend quality time with family, exercise, or just commune with nature.
The importance of parks in my life, I have been really privileged to always live near a park. Walking distance, my 3 sisters and running around, we had wonderful times in parks. Through community work, I began to understand how important parks are to a sense of place and neighborhood. Public spaces, public parks, not backyards, but public parks are where people want to go to celebrate, to mourn if they're having, if it's a sad event. But it's where people can really come together.
Parks are important not just because of physical activity, social activity that we have, but also even in the air with the microbiome that we breathe from the park and trees actually improve our health.
They are the most kind of accessible part of a community. They're open to everybody. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, what your income level is, what your ability level is. Parks are open to all of us, especially here in Miami, where I think they've done an incredible job of making sure that parks are accessible to every single person who lives in the county. There is almost no other place where a child can come and explore, learn about all different types of math and science and health and art and science and engineering and technology. I mean, all of it is truly within our park system, and I really encourage all children to spend as much time as possible, and adults, in the parks because of that.
Parks have always played a central role in my life, and I think it's related to the fact that I am a healthcare provider and my passion for loving and caring for other people, because parks love and care for people.
These 15 amazing women are leaving their mark on our community, making our future better and brighter. May they continue to impact and inspire each of us.